One aspect of lighting that I often overlook, and still to this day I have to remind myself about, is how am I lighting a space? This is a mistake a lot of us make. We think about lighting our subject first and not about the actual environment that the shot is, which arguably is more important than even just the light hitting your character, because it is actually in fact more of your shot, it's more of your painting, it's more of what you're creating. And so today I want to go over 4 different aspects of how you can approach lighting a space. And we'll get into some real practical tips. And this video is sponsored by Sennheiser. The first aspect of lighting a space I want to talk about is practicals. And this is essentially just bringing lamps into a space. It's hiding lights or switching out bulbs. Practicals are just essentially any light that you could justify being in that space. And you can kind of begin to push this and have a lot of fun with it. Like some of these lights in this space I've added, but some of them are just the lamps I have. And a few quick tips for you as a cinematographer. Everyone should have a couple lamps in their car at all times, and also a set of light bulbs, whether it just be some light bulbs that you've got from the hardware store that are very warm, in some cases cool, but I tend to really like warm lamps. Or you can even get something better like the Aperture B7C lights. Those are light bulbs that you can screw into any sort of fixture and the control with the app, so you have full control of the color temperature. And I really recommend, if you're gonna be going to set, don't just think about having like a big 150C softbox like I have here, or a couple even just tube lights. Bring a few lamps and bring a few bulbs that you can swap out. And this is where too, is once you begin to create these pool lights, you can begin to justify hiding some other lights. Like I'll actually just take you through the space here. Right now in this space, I have this lamp here on a dimmer. Highly recommend having your lights on a dimmer so you can change them unless you have one of those like Aperture bulbs, because then you can just do that from the app. Then I also have a little Aperture MC light hanging back here, and then I can control that, and I have that to the warmest temperature setting I have. And then this LED light here, this is genuinely, turn down my ISO so you can see it. It's genuinely one of the warmest light bulbs I think I own. It claims 1800, I'm not quite sure. Sometimes when you buy it online, they're very cheap. But then what we've also done here I just added a couple LED lights on here. This is nothing special. The key is that we've added some tape along the edge here so that it pulls the light down rather than shining off the side, because that little LED there, actually, the light will come off the edge here. So we've just put this white tape on here and it's created the pools of light. So that way, when we come back to our shot over here, you can see it's much softer. It doesn't just shine directly into the light. It creates that little pocket. As you can see from the shoot we did for our course Cinepath Pro, we just put the twinkle lights in the background. And that just, again, adds a little more visual interest, a little more texture to this space. And you can even just begin to use candles as practical lighting. We did this in the basement over at Evil Empire Studio so that the space wasn't just one big black void. We went and we put candles all along the side there and then turned off a few of the work lights, but left a few of them on the wall. Again, one of the easiest ways to make an environment look interesting is block as much light as you can. I have a skylight in this room, and then just begin to add pockets of different color temperatures, or like I do here, just all warm. One quick piece of advice too, when you're lighting your subject, the closer you can get your key light to them, like I have here, I think I only have this is a 150. I think I have this just down at like maybe 7%. Oh no, we're up at 10%. See, I just like bring my lights in so close. I can't believe how many people don't do this. They don't just have their light super close. So when you look at the shot here, it's very, very soft, which while I'm here, spin this back over, talk about today's sponsor, which is none other than Sennheiser. They have a huge sale going on right now for both the MKE 400 and the Workhorse, the MKE 600. This mic, years ago, I swapped over onto, I think when I was shooting the film Chase It from the South, I began using this for my vlogging, and I have just not gone back. Truly just one of my favorite parts of it is that it has the integrated shock mount on the inside, which essentially means your mic isn't just out here flopping around, like it's right in here. I don't recommend holding it by this, but this has been my workhorse. I use this for any time I'm vlogging. The Sennheiser mics have been a huge part of my documentary workflow. Whenever we're on set, I make sure that all of our cameras are equipped with at least a 600 or the 416. And this mic just runs off little AAAs and also to a very obvious green light to know if the mic is actually on, because I don't know if you've been there, but I have, where I've been recording. And what's great too with the 600 is it comes with a slot for one single double A, I believe. You put that in there. We take our FX3 with that. And now we have even higher fidelity, higher quality shotgun phantom powered sound coming right into our FX3. $249 getting a shotgun quality like Sennheiser. There should be no excuse for going onto Amazon and buying one of those crappy third-party shotguns. But this is an amazing sale that Sennheiser's on. I think it's to celebrate their 10,000th anniversary. They've been around for 10,000 years. Moses actually recorded his vlogs with the 10 Commandments on a 400. You can check them down below. I'll put a link for them. And thank you, Sennheiser, for always being an amazing sponsor to this channel and helping support all my documentary work. The next way to light a space is actually lighting it from the outside. This is where you're gonna bring a much larger light and you wanna have it closer to 5600 or even cooler, depending the time of day, to recreate daylight coming through those windows. Now, if you wanna make it more of like a golden hour, you can warm up the light or you can change your white balance in your camera. But I love to light from outside spaces because for me as a documentary filmmaker or someone trying to adjust my cameras when I'm doing interviews, there's more flexibility when the light's just coming in through a window because we now no longer have fixtures in the space. And sometimes you get lucky where if you're lighting from the outside in, you can actually use that light for your shot. Again, coming back to Evil Empire, you can see the shot with Elisha. We've been creating moonlight from the space. And in turn, that moonlight that was just supposed to be a pool of really, really cold light in the background, we actually put her in that, and that could have been in one of our shots there, using that lighting from the outside of the environment to create that look coming in. And once you've established one real window with a light coming through, you can begin to bring other lights then into this space to recreate the repetition. What I mean is, again, coming back to the shot with Elisha here, we had that pool of cold light down at the far end, but then we put tube lights at different stages down the hallway to repeat the idea that there is a skylight. Going back to a film I shot many years ago, Beauty and the Battle, we actually lit that entire environment by just punching in huge 18K lights through the ceiling, through the skylights. Because of course you can use sunlight, available light, like this doorway here, that is just sunlight coming through the windows back there. But every once in a while you're gonna see a truck go by and it'll change, and that's interesting. But if I didn't have to shoot this in just 20 minutes here, if I was shooting this interview over a few hours, this would become a problem because that light wouldn't be consistent. So I could actually set up another light in that space. But then also too, you don't wanna just shine one big block through a window. You wanna think about breaking it up. So you see me do it all the time on many shoots, from the Chris Williamson interview to some of our stuff in Cinematic Eye, our course, and this breaks it up so that it's not just one big white square on the background. Now, one other really cool approach to lighting outside of an environment into a room is you should go watch the video I did with Stefano Ferrari. He's one of the best documentary DPs on the face of the planet. Most Netflix series right now have been shot by him. Him and I spoke about his approach, and he will actually create a white cove using a tent and firelights reflected into the space. And this is how he'll actually light big chunks of his interview. He'll use that light coming off onto his subject's face, and then you'll add a couple other lights inside the house.
There's been instances where I put branches of trees and stuff to give you the sense that there is stuff behind in that window, and it's not just a lighting source.
The third way to approach lighting a room is what I'm calling slashes. This is where you bring in slashes of light from within inside the space. One of the easiest ways to do this, and I have a whole video on it, is using something called an E-flect. This is just like a flat disco ball, because this gives you lots of specular highlights, lots of little reflections all across big blank surfaces. I love using the E-flect when I have a big white wall, as it does break it up, and having those speckles across there just makes it way more interesting to look at, and it's really fun too if you have the shallow depth of field, as it's kind of like a double bouquet. Another way to do slashes is getting like a gobo like this, and you can add in, you can actually just like, can we see through this? There we go. Let's just leave a little slash light. Oh, there's my lips. Hi. Oh, this is like that Kraft dinner commercial. And that would come through. If I set this up with the other Joon light, you would see it would just be like a little hack of light. The slashes of light's cool. The issue I have with it is sometimes it just looks like that, slashes of light. You can tell I really love realism in my shots. Probably being a doc filmmaker, I liked things looking at least semi-natural, but the slashes begin to feel, like I said, just like you set up a light and added this hack. But You can get creative with the gobos, or you can make it feel like just like this, like you have a little bit of light coming in through a window. One of my favorite shots from Kill or Be Killed was when Joel was sitting on that bed and we just serendipitously had hard sunlight coming through. You'll see some directors doing this sometimes where they'll just have a slash light across their character's face or across their mouth, highlighting different things. Just think about contrast. That's one of your best friends in post-production, as well as color temperature differences. Just did a whole video about having color temperatures in your shots. You can go watch that as well. One other bonus piece of advice is I really love that Nick Plucky does this on set, is when we get there, he'll have an iPad with a bunch of references. This does two things. One, we're able to both be discussing about the same idea, because if he's describing something and I am, and I can't picture what he's saying, we might be actually achieving something completely different. And then also too, it kind of sparks my creativity. I might just be looking at a space saying, yeah, this is good enough. But if I've seen what another cinematographer's done and how much they've pushed and crafted and meticulously manipulated the space that they've been shooting in, that might make me want to try something else. Now, the last way to light a space is my least favorite. It's something I used to just always do because it was the only thing I knew how to do. And I call this just ambience. This is just where you punch a light into the ceiling to add some more overall light into the space. Typically, lighting things just from above is one of the least interesting ways to approach lighting because we don't get to see the shadows. Now, one way to do this effectively, and I did this on the shoot for a VR company, is we pointed the light into the far corner. Now, what this does is it reflects back onto your subjects and it begins to act as a big backlight. And that's how we're actually able to achieve this silhouette-y, edge lighty look on all the characters running through this space. Thanks for watching this. Thank you, Sennheiser, for sponsoring this. I don't know if we'll be putting out another video before Christmas. I'm going on a 65-day honeymoon. It's about time that I go away for a while, and I just got married in September, so me and my wife are looking forward to spending some time overseas. We'll be Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan. It's gonna be a wild trip, and I will film a little bit of it. I mean, we should. We're gonna be seeing some insane stuff, but for the most part, we're gonna be trying to unplug, just be a human for a little while. So the YouTube channel might get a little bit thin on videos there for a bit.
I didn't make an I'm quitting YouTube video.
Don't worry, I'm not doing one of those YouTube things of I quit and oh, I'm feeling burnt out. That's not me, but I do look forward to getting some time to recharge. Awesome. I'll see you guys on the next one.